Kira's body moved on instinct, the knowledge and experience of countless warriors guiding his every action. He effortlessly dodged the statue's attacks, his movements smooth and precise. To the onlookers, it was as if he were dancing around the statue, his form a blur of graceful motion. Despite its overwhelming power, the statue failed to land a single blow. The judge, Ronin, and all the students watched in stunned silence, struggling to comprehend what they were witnessing. The dojo master, however, stood with an eager smile, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Despite the intensity of the battle, Kira's mind remained calm, his senses heightened beyond anything he had ever experienced. He saw openings in the statue's defenses that no one else could, felt the energy of the room as if it were a living, breathing entity. When a powerful strike came toward him, he sidestepped with flawless precision and countered, driving his fist into the statue's core. A deep crack echoed through the dojo as the force of his strike sent a shockwave rippling through the stone, making the statue stagger back. Kira didn't let up. He moved with the efficiency of a seasoned warrior, every strike deliberate, every motion purposeful. The statue, overwhelmed and unable to comprehend the force that was dismantling it, began to falter under the relentless assault. Cracks spread like lightning across its surface, dust and debris crumbling away with each impact. Finally, with a single devastating strike, Kira fractured the statue from within, sending shards of stone exploding across the dojo floor. The impact left nothing but scattered rubble where the statue once stood. As the dust settled, the dojo fell into absolute silence. The judges and students stared in disbelief, struggling to process what had just unfolded before them. Kira stood amidst the debris, his breathing steady, his expression unreadable. The head judge opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, the dojo master stepped forward, his gaze fixed on Kira. "You have passed," he said simply, his voice filled with deep respect. "I will personally take you as my core student." Kira, still coming to terms with the battle he had just fought, nodded quietly. A strange mix of pride and destiny settled in his chest. This was more than a victory. It was a step into the legacy that had been waiting for him. The dojo buzzed with excitement as whispers spread through the crowd. The students were still in awe of Kira's performance, but what shocked them even more was his immediate promotion. Becoming a core student directly under the dojo master was an honor none of them had achieved, and the realization left them both impressed and envious. As Kira stepped outside, Ronin hurried after him, his face lit with excitement. "Kira, that was incredible. How did you do that? I had no idea you were this strong." Kira let out a small chuckle. "Honestly, I didn't either." Ronin grinned. "And Grandmaster Chun chose you as his core student. Do you even understand what that means?" Kira raised an eyebrow. "Not really." Ronin blinked in disbelief. "Are you serious? It means you'll be treated with the highest respect. You'll train directly under Grandmaster Chun, get the best meals, have your own private room, and full access to all the school's facilities. Plus, you'll go on missions. It's a huge deal." Kira's eyes widened slightly. "That actually sounds amazing." Before Ronin could respond, a guard approached. "Kira, Grandmaster Chun has summoned you." Kira nodded and followed the guard to a quiet chamber within the dojo. Inside, Grandmaster Chun sat calmly, while a tall, broad-shouldered young man stood before him. The man had a strong, commanding presence, his sharp gaze settling on Kira with quiet intensity. Chun gestured toward him. "Kira, I'd like you to meet Fong." Fong gave Kira a brief nod, his expression unreadable. "For the past 5 years, Fong has been my only core student," Chun continued. "He's now at level 6 and an exceptional warrior. You can rely on him. He will guide you, and you can trust him." Kira extended his hand, and Fong shook it firmly, his grip strong but controlled. Chun leaned forward slightly. "We have an urgent mission. Fong will be leaving tomorrow morning, and I want you to accompany him. It will be a valuable experience for you." Kira straightened. "Yes, sir." Chun smiled faintly. "Just call me Chun." Kira hesitated before nodding. Yes, Master Chen. I look forward to the mission with Fong. Fong requested permission to leave, then motioned for Kira to follow. He led him down a quiet hallway to a room next to Chen's. This will be your room. Get some rest, we leave early. Kira nodded. Thanks. Fong studied him for a moment before speaking. You're skilled, too skilled for someone your age. Where did you learn to fight like that? Kira hesitated, then answered. I'm from a small, peaceful village far from here. My father taught me everything I know. Fong's gaze didn't waver. And where is your father now? Kira's expression darkened slightly. He passed away. A brief silence followed before Fong nodded. I see. Get some rest. We have a big day ahead. With that, Fong turned and left, leaving Kira alone with his thoughts. Kira couldn't find rest that night. His mind raced with everything that had transpired since he left his village. Thoughts of his mother and grandmother weighed heavily on him, but what haunted him most was the image of Vega, his lion, still suffering from his battle against the bald man and the undead dragon. The memory of his injuries gnawed at Kira's heart. Desperate to help, he tried to teleport to the forest core, but each attempt failed. Frustration built inside him, until, suddenly, he found himself standing inside the temple with his father. Johann greeted him with a warm smile. Well, this is a surprise. You've managed to fully teleport here with your real body, not just your consciousness. Kira sighed. Actually, I was trying to reach the ancestors' wood's core. Johann chuckled and pointed beyond the temple garden. It's right there. Kira blinked in surprise. He had never explored the garden before. Following his father, he stepped into the lush greenery, the air thick with the scent of flowers and earth. As they reached a secluded area surrounded by towering trees, the branches shifted on their own, parting to create a passage. Suddenly, silver wolves rushed toward him, tails wagging, their playful energy filling the space. They leaped around him excitedly. Kira laughed, reaching out to them. I've missed you all. I'm glad to see you safe and healthy here. He looked around. Where's Vega? The wolves turned and led the way. Kira and Johann followed them through the trees until they arrived at a shimmering silver lake. Kira's heart clenched at the sight before him. Vega lay on his side, still bleeding, his wounds deep and unhealed. Nearby, the burned and injured wolf struggled to stand, but its tail wagged weakly as it sensed Kira's approach. Kira rushed forward, kneeling between them. Easy now, he murmured, his hands resting gently on their fur. I'm sorry I'm late. He closed his eyes, focusing. Don't worry, you'll feel better soon. But nothing happened. Kira opened his eyes in confusion and looked up at his father. Why can't I heal them? Johann's expression was calm but serious. To reconnect with your animals and heal them, you need to unlock the elements of earth and water. His voice softened. Are you sure you're ready for that? Kira clenched his fists, glancing at his injured companions before meeting his father's gaze. I have to. I won't let them suffer. Johann nodded approvingly and handed Kira 2 keys, one brown, one blue. Be careful. Focus only on what you intend to do. And no matter what happens, do not fully open the gates of the elemental powers. Kira took a deep breath and grasped the keys. The moment his fingers closed around them, they vanished into his skin. A surge of energy shot through him, and suddenly, his entire body began to glow. Brilliant beams of brown and blue light burst from within him, shaking the forest to its core. The lake churned violently, waves crashing as if caught in a storm. The earth trembled, and massive trees erupted from the ground, twisting and growing into towering mountains around them. Johann grabbed Kira's hand. Kira, focus. Just touch the door, but don't open it completely. Kira gritted his teeth, fighting to control the overwhelming power surging through him. Slowly, the raging waters calmed, the towering trees settled, and the earth stilled. The glow around Kira faded, leaving him drained. His legs gave out, and he collapsed onto the ground, breathing hard. As he lifted his head, his eyes widened. Vega's wounds were vanishing before his eyes. The lion stirred, then slowly rose to his feet, his majestic form whole once more. The silver wolf let out a joyful bark and leaped onto Kira, knocking him onto his back as it licked his face excitedly. Kira laughed, gently pushing the wolf aside before turning to Vega. The massive lion gazed at him with deep gratitude, then stepped forward, lowering his head and rubbing his enormous muzzle against Kira's body. Kira reached out, wrapping his arms as far as he could around Vega's thick mane. For a long while, he simply stayed there, surrounded by the warmth of his companions, their bond stronger than ever. After spending time playing with the animals and talking with his father, Kira finally teleported back to his room at the academy. Exhaustion overtook him, and for the first time in what felt like forever, he fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. Kira awoke with a start, his heart pounding with excitement. Today was the day, his first mission. The morning light filtered through the paper-thin walls of his room, casting soft shadows that swayed across the wooden floor. He sat up quickly, the events of the previous night still fresh in his mind. Now, he had the opportunity to prove himself, to advance in his training, to master his powers. He wasted no time getting dressed, his hands moving with urgency as he tied his sash. A mix of nervous energy and anticipation filled his chest. This was more than just a test. It was his first real step toward something greater. As he stepped out into the crisp morning air, he took a deep breath and made his way to the meeting point. His thoughts raced, questions forming in his mind. What kind of mission would this be? Would he be ready? When he reached the courtyard, Fong was already there, waiting. The older student stood with an air of quiet confidence, his experience evident in the way he carried himself. There was something reassuring about his presence, as if nothing could truly shake him. Kira squared his shoulders, feeling some of his anxiety fade. Standing beside Fong was another familiar figure, Ronan. Kira's eyes met his, and they exchanged a nod. Ronan had recently impressed everyone at the school's entrance tests with his remarkable control over spiritual energy. Despite being a newcomer, he had already earned the rank of a third-level martial artist, a testament to his raw talent and relentless drive. Kira could see it in his stance, in the focused determination in his gaze, the same hunger for growth that burned inside him. This was it, the beginning of something new, and Kira was ready.